Hello everybody, today we're going to put together a Yagai antenna made of tape measures and PVC pipe. This one is on the 70 centimeter, aka the 440 band, but the concept is the same for any of the bands. Now what I've included are some PVC pipe parts, a T, across, two lengths that are about 6 inches each, and then a short and a long piece and a 90-degree. In addition, there are about half a dozen tie wraps and then pieces of this tape measure that have already been cut and soldered and everything. So you have this, you have three pieces. You have a short one, a long one, and then two of them tied together. The longest one, this one here, is called the reflector. This one is called the director. And these, with the soldering and everything and the cable, are the driven elements. We'll get to that in a minute. So let me push that stuff over to the side, clear up a little bit of space here. And let's look at the PVC parts. So what you want to do is we're going to go from the director end, which is the part that you're going to be pointing the antenna to, and take the T, and then I've labeled, though it is the longer of the two little pieces, I've labeled it DIR, director, in my sloppy handwriting. So just press it in there like that. That's it. Then take a cross piece, press fit it like that. Okay, so now you've got that. Now take the reflector, shorter one, put it in there. Another cross piece. So at this point, this is the basis of the antenna. The director, the reflector, and the driven elements. These other two longer pieces with the 90-degree are going to be used as a handy-dandy handle. So you can move it around. But I'm not going to do that just yet. But that's what these two are for with that 90-degree. So we have our antenna, and we need now our pieces of metal made out of tape measures, and you're going to grab the shorter of the two, which is this one, and put it on the director side, the T, and to hold it we're going to use our handy dandy zip ties that I've included. So zip tie that one, and let me make it consistent at least. Okay, zip tie that one. So you can see now that element is attached to the piece of pipe, and I'm not worried too much about being centered right now because I can move it if I need to. Now the only tool you might want to need is a pair of scissors or side cutters so that you could clip off this extra so it doesn't get in your way. Let's get rid of that. Oh, let's do the middle one. The middle one is the driven element. This is what the radio is actually hooked to, and it's going to sit in the middle. And you can see that I've already soldered onto these pieces of tape measure a piece of coaxial that goes into the handheld radios. And you will notice that I've also included a little adapter right here. Kenwood radios use this, and the Chinese, because they're Chinese, decided to do the opposite of what everybody else does, and they need an adapter. So there's a little adapter that's included. Okay. This yellow piece of wire is called a hairpin, and it is used for some inductive balancing, which I'm not going to get into because you should have learned that already in your ham radio thing. Again, handy dandy zip tie. Handy dandy zip tie. Some of the designs have used screws and whatnot, and on my 2 meter I do use screws on some of the parts, but honestly I found the zip ties to be more effective. They're easier, they don't require any tools, they're tight enough to hold things in place, but they're loose enough that you can adjust, because these distances on these frequencies between these two elements is important. And, you know, things are going to get knocked around when you put them in a car or take them out. So, here we got that guy, the director, the driven elements with a coaxial cable. I'm going to tuck that under there for now. And then I need the reflector. So the reflector is going to reflect back radio waves. So the idea is the director directs radio waves to the driven elements, and the reflector reflects back radio waves. So this is going to be assembled in exactly the same way as the other one with the zip ties. Oh, it's jumping all around. There we go. And another zip tie. Way. Put a zip tie like this. Tighten it up, and I'm going to cut them back, leaving a little bit just so if I need to tighten it, I could tighten it. And there you go. You have an antenna made of PVC pipe and pieces of cut up tape measure. The key thing with antennas is an antenna has to be a wire, right? It has to be conductive. It doesn't have to be a wire, it has to be conductive. Important parts are the length of the elements, because the length of the element has to correspond to some multiplier of a frequency. So if it's 70 centimeters, you need to have 70 centimeters of distance, or half of that, 35, or a quarter of that. So what you'll see on a lot of antennas, you see quarter wave antennas, because if you have a 60 meter band that you're working on, it's really hard to have a 60 meter long antenna. So instead you have a mere 20 meter or 60 feet antenna. So that is the antenna there. Now for fox hunting and whatnot, what I would do is I would take my other piece here and just jam it in there so I could direct it around and figure out where my fox is at. I can tune it by simply pulling or pushing these closer or further apart. I'll want to make sure these are relatively centered, the director and the reflector. I'll probably get a tape measure or a ruler to, check that out. But that's all there is to it. What you'd want to potentially do too, and what I do in a lot of these, is I'll put another zip tie around the coax as strain relief. Some folks will wrap about 5 wraps of coax to make a kind of make a balancer for the antenna. Honestly, I don't know if that works well or not. I haven't tried it. So that's that. Everything's pre-cut. You don't really need any tools except maybe some scissors. And the cable and everything's already wired. And if you don't have a Kenwood radio, all you got to do is put the little adapter on and screw the little adapter into your Baofeng cheapy radio, and you're good to go. So I need to take this out in the field now and see if it works.